types of domestic violence. A lady can be abused mentally, physically, and financially. If you were in love with someone and suddenly that person starts treating you differently, or they've been slowly just doing things to you over time, that can have a toll on your mental health. For example, like I said, if this is someone that you've been married to maybe for like 10 years, you are in love with the person that you married, not per se the person that's doing these things to you. So it's a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of questioning as to why this is going on. She realizes that she's in a domestic violence situation. What we do, we would probably assist that lady with probably maybe getting a protective order. So at some point the abuser knows that he has a protective order. So even if the lady goes to her job and she says, hey, this person is not supposed to be around me, this is my protective order, that can cause a little stress to like the manager, because then they automatically think this situation is causing extra stress for the job. So they think that maybe this is not a good person to work for me. And we've had situations where managers have actually fired ladies who've been in domestic violence situations because of that situation. Then she may not be as productive at work because she's worried about, when I leave, is he going to be standing outside waiting for me, or is he going to constantly call my job every couple of hours trying to see where I'm at or what I'm doing. So it does take a toll on the job and the woman. Someone in society sees a lady and maybe she is physically abused. They physically see that because, again, domestic violence is just not about physical abuse. It's also mental abuse and financial abuse as well. I think some of the attitudes may be, why would you let this happen to you? Why didn't you just leave? Or why didn't you take your kids out of that situation, instead of saying, what's wrong with the person that's doing this to you? What's wrong with the person that hit you? And what's wrong with the person that hit your children? So it's just, we have to kind of change the way society thinks about it, which means that you shouldn't be blaming the woman. You should actually be blaming the abuser and holding him accountable for what he's doing. We have a support group that we offer to our ladies, and some of the topics that we talk about is healthy relationships. Like, what does a healthy relationship look like? So when we go over those things, I think it helps a lady to understand, if she's getting involved with another person, to recognize the red flags of what could potentially be another abusive relationship. For example, a healthy relationship is not him calling you every 24 hours, checking on you, trying to see where you at or what you're doing. Or a healthy relationship is not him telling you something right off the bat that can seem as if it was controlling in a way. So we just make sure that they look out for those red flags so they won't get back into those situations. It's not always guaranteed, because unfortunately we do have some ladies, they may have been through this situation, but they also may find themselves with another abuser. But then again, we continue to kind of do the same thing with that situation as well. Again, domestic violence it can be physical abuse. So, okay, I met you, we fell madly in love. So I tell you, you don't have to work. I'm going to support you. You don't have to do anything. So when the domestic violence starts, and it's really about power and control. That's all this is about. So when he feels, okay, it's my time to exert this power and control over you, I will constantly remind you, I am the one that pays the bills. You don't work anywhere. So what is it that you're going to do? You're not stable without me. So once she leaves the situation, it's like she has to start all over from scratch. And you have some ladies who've been in situations for maybe like 20 years, never worked or anything. So now we as an agency have to kind of like bring out those things that she did at home and kind of put that on a resume and say, these are the skills that you have. Though you may not have worked, these are still the skills that you have. So definitely financially, controlling someone financially can affect your stability. If a lady finds herself, of course, being homeless, what she can do is she can call the National Hotline for Domestic Violence and it will get routed to us. She would do a crisis line intake over the phone. We would assess the situation, and she would come in for shelter if that's one of the needs that she wants. We've had some ladies who have had a significant boost in self-esteem. So that's one way of empowerment. We've also worked with ladies and kind of showed them that you are not powerless. You do have the power to control the things in your life, and you can do anything that you put your mind to. So we kind of assist them with that as well. And again, that goes back to boosting self-esteem. We've had ladies who have left the center and have come back and said, I wrote a book. And, the book may be on the bestsellers list or something, or, they've sold a lot of copies, and they would say, this situation and the help that you guys gave me allowed me to write this book. We've had ladies who come back and say they just wanted to talk to the ladies and say, I wasn't empowered enough to get out of the situation, and now I'm doing A, B, C, and D. I'm running a company. I'm successfully working. I have a home. So I guess the empowerment starts with them coming here. And to be honest with you, the empowerment starts when they see, okay, you know what, it's time for me to leave and get out of this situation. Drugs is a way of coping. It's called self-medicating. If you really look at a situation, if anyone was in that situation and your husband just talked to you as if you were trash, or he just really beat you to a pulp, the next thing that you would go to is probably drugs and or alcohol. Because what also happens is, in a domestic violence relationship, the abuser will isolate you away from your friends and your family. So it's not like you have anybody that you can depend on and talk to. So the next natural thing to cope with everything that's going on is either drugs or it's alcohol. And then sometimes you have those relationships where the abuser themselves are drug addicts, or they abuse alcohol, and they kind of coax the survivor to get involved in the same thing, and they find themselves addicts as well.